All right, today we will cover trapezoids and isosceles trapezoids. A trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of parallel sides. So quadrilateral means four sides. And a trapezoid will always have one pair of parallel sides. So this base and this base would be parallel. If you were to label a trapezoid, let's see. Give each vertex a label. All right, so this is trapezoid ABCD. BC and AD are both the base. It's called the base. So the bases are parallel, and then you have your legs. All right, so all of these will be trapezoids. You see, you have your parallel bases. This is your base 1 and base 2, and then these would be your legs. Same thing here. These would be trapezoids. All right, so then you have an isosceles trapezoid, and it's a trapezoid with congruent legs. So, of course, BC and AD are parallel. But if you look, these legs AB and CD are congruent. Remember the tick marks. Now, in an isosceles trapezoid, the base angles are congruent. So angle A and angle D are congruent. Please write that down, y'all. Angle A is congruent to angle D, and angle B is congruent to angle C. So the base angles are congruent. All right, now the angle D and C, they will add up to equal 180, okay? So the consecutive angles add up to equal 180, but the base angles are always congruent. So angle D, the measure of angle D plus the measure of angle C is going to equal 180 degrees. Please write these down for your practice questions. The measure of angle A plus the measure of angle B is 180 degrees. Y'all see that? But if you notice, in an isosceles trapezoid, either the base angles are, you either have congruent angles or you have supplementary angles, one or the other, in an isosceles trapezoid. If I go back and we look at these two angles, angle A here and then angle B here, angle A and B add up to equal 180 as well. If you were to extend these two lines, the two bases, and we talked about the same side interior angles or supplementary, it's the same thing, okay? So A and B will add up to equal 180 degrees. C and D will add up to equal 180 degrees. All right, also in an isosceles trapezoid, the diagonals are congruent as well, okay? So line AC is congruent, sorry y'all, line AC is congruent to line BD. So from here to here, AC is congruent to BD, but only in an isosceles trapezoid. Make sure you guys are taking notes. All right, so next we're going to move on to the midsegment of a trapezoid. XY is the midsegment. All right, I know it's the midsegment because it is the middle segment of the trapezoid. The endpoints, each endpoint is the midpoint of the leg. So AB is the first leg, and I know that AX is congruent to BX. and I know that CY is congruent to YD. And then you have your formula. The mid-segment XY is equal to 1/2 of BC plus AD. And I just went ahead and wrote it out for you guys. The mid-segment is equal to 1/2 times base 1. So here's base 1 plus base 2. So it's just a formula. It's nothing difficult. All right, so here's an example. Find XY. If you write down these examples and when you move on to your assignment, you should be able to solve without any problems. All right, so we're going to find XY. All right, the mid-segment is XY. That's what we're looking for. It's equal to 1/2 times base 1. Base 1 is 26 plus base 2 is 42. So you add 26 plus 42, which is 68. So XY is half of 68. And what is half of 68? 34. So XY is 34. All right, next you will find BC. So if you look, BC is a base. So this time you're going to find a base instead of the midpoint, the mid-segment, sorry. Let's let the base be X. All right, so the mid-segment, 31, is equal to 1/2 base 1 plus base 2. Okay, so base 1 is X, base 2 is 38. And then you solve. The easiest thing to do is to go ahead and multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of your fraction, or you can go ahead and distribute the 1/2. So if you distribute the 1/2, you have 31 equals 1/2 X plus 19. And then you would subtract 19 from both sides. 31 minus 19 is 12 equals 1/2 X. And then you would multiply both sides by 2 to solve for X, and X is 24. So that's one way to do it. Or you would say, set it up the same way, but go ahead and multiply both sides by 2 to go ahead and get rid of the fraction. So you'll have 62 equals, see that cancel, X plus 38. You'll get the same answer. Subtract 38 from both sides. X equals 24. So BC is 24. All right, in this one, you'll solve for X. Same rule applies. Mid-segment is 2X plus 24 is equal to, that's your mid-segment, 1/2 times base 1, which is 23, plus base 2 is 25. So I have 2X plus 24 equals 1/2. 23 plus 25 is 48. I'll go ahead and take half of 48, right? 2X plus 24 equals, what is half of 48? 24. And then you just solve for X. Subtract 24 from both sides. I'm going to move over here. Sorry, I'm running out of space. 2X equals 24 minus 24 is 0. Divide both sides by 2. And X equals 0. Find the length of the base. Same thing. I think we've already worked one of these examples, but we'll do it again. Mid-segment, 9, is equal to 1/2 times base 1, EF, and we don't know, so it's going to be our x, plus base 2 is 11. All right, when I go ahead and multiply both sides by 2 to get rid of that fraction. So 9 times 2 is 18 equals x plus 11. When I subtract 11 from both sides, I get 7. X equals 7. So EF is 7. All right, we're going to solve for x. Midsegment 26 is equal to 1/2 base 1 plus base 2, which is negative 10 plus 5x. (26) equals 1/2 22 minus 5x. All right, I'm going to go ahead and multiply both sides by 2. 26 times 2 is 52. That cancels, equals 22 minus 5x. I am going to solve for x, so I need to subtract 22 from both sides. 52 minus 22 is 30. That cancels, leaves me with negative 5x. Divide both sides by negative 5, and x equals negative 6. All right, find the measurement of the angle indicated for this trapezoid. All right, if you look, you see these 2 marks. That means these are congruent segments. So this is an isosceles trapezoid. And an isosceles trapezoid, the base angles are congruent. So angle D is congruent to angle E. So that means their measures are the same. So angle D is 100 degrees. Too easy. And if I had to fill in this entire trapezoid, this would be 100, this would be 80, and this would be 80. Okay? All right. Again, we have another isosceles trapezoid. The base angles are congruent, so we're going to set them equal. 9x plus 24 equals 96. All right, 96 minus 24, 9x equals 72. And when I divide both sides by 9, x equals 8. All right, here, they're not congruent, but these are parallel lines, okay? If you guys remember, parallel lines are cut by a transversal. The same side interior angles are supplementary. So this angle plus this angle equals 180. So 180 minus 120 is 60. So the measure of angle V is 60 degrees. All right, same thing here, same side interior angles. They add up to equal 180. So 8x plus 30 plus 86 equals 180. 8x plus 116 equals 180. 180 minus 116, 8x equals 64. Divide both sides by 8. X equals 8. All right, find the length of the diagonal. Diagonals are congruent in an isosceles trapezoid, so if DF is 4.6, so is CE. I know, it's that easy. All right, they want you to solve for X. RT is 8, and SU is negative 2x plus 8. They're congruent. So you just set them equal. Negative 2x plus 8 equals 8. When I subtract 8 from both sides, I get negative 2x equals 0. Divide both sides by negative 2. X equals 0. And that's it. If you have any questions, send me an email.